Time to call a plumber. That's what my son said several times. And I finally agreed, although we tried everything. Uh, this is a school, Frank's school, and it's been a trial for the last 3 days about uh, because our water supply went. We actually couldn't pump water out of the well anymore. For a while we could. And when you live in a country pretty far from town or city, you just have to take care of things, especially farmers. They really have to just take care of things themselves. And a lot of them do, but a lot of them in the modern day don't. And my son is more modern that way than I am. I mean, he's willing to go along with trying, and he's getting pretty good at taking care of things too. He fixed the water supply out at the other house. He figured it out and got what he needed and fixed it. And that was because of cold. The water froze under that house. Ours was not, but we weren't sure. I just, about 4 days ago, I went to draw some water and I saw the pump wouldn't shut off when it, which indicates it's got a leak or can't build pressure. I'm not going to go into all the details of this. But there's a lesson to be learned. There's more than, my mantra, one of my mantras here is it's a school. It's a school. And what a school. Well, I'm going to, in a minute, I'm going to take the camera and as a second shot, I'll go over and show you the work. We ended up calling, I was amazed that my wife was able to find a plumber that would come, because this has been in the coldest spell of the entire winter, bitter, and I figured people probably have frozen pipes everywhere, and but she found it was going to be a day. He couldn't. It would be the next day, and so we we hauled water. My son hauled the water from the other house. Good. Well, it's not as tasty water, but a real deep, strong supply. So we had water, but he was carrying our household water for about 3 days, 2 buckets. I mean, we don't use much water at all, which is a mercy. And I had time to get everything ready and cleaned up, so the plumbers could get to this. Well, when they came, it turned out there were 2 brothers, and they're not the kind that drill wells, but they fix things. And they also work on heating systems and more. And I'll tell you about them more later. Very interesting guys, brothers, and their grandfather had started the business south of Everett, which is probably about, I don't know, maybe it might be 30 miles from, but they probably had to drive maybe 30 miles or to get to this area, but they were working on other households. The day they came, they said they'd worked on 7 places that day already. Well, ours was a hard one, and I told them what we'd done, and they started to check the same stuff out that we had, and we couldn't really figure it out. So finally, they said we'll have to pull the pump. Now they came. There were 4 of them. They didn't need to be 4, but they didn't know, because Sven and I could have helped pull the pump. Matter of fact, the 2 of them could have pulled it, but they didn't know. They didn't know how deep the well was, or then I hadn't spoken to them. So they pulled the pump because we'd concluded, and I mostly sat here and watched them work and didn't say much, but eventually I started to give my 2 cents worth, which they welcomed. They weren't offended by that at all, and because some of the things I said were right. I've worked on that pump before, in a very similar situation, and they listened, and a lot of it made sense. But anyway, together we concluded that the jet at the very bottom of the pump of the well must have gotten clogged or dirty, because it would draw water, but only 30 pounds, and maybe not even that. It was having trouble. So we decided, yeah, we'll have to do that. So we ended up, they were doing all the work and disconnecting the pipes, and we pulled by hand. We pulled up 75 feet, more or less, maybe 60 feet of black, a big one and a small one, pipe, plastic, full of water. Pulled it up and laid it down and had it emptied. And they took the foot valve, what's called the foot valve. They took it off, and here the screen was gone, so it could have been pulling pebbles, almost anything. There was no screen on the bottom of it, so that looked really suspect. But anyway, they took it off, and turned out they couldn't actually get the plastic piece out without damaging it. At first they were thinking, well, we'll clean it. In the old days, they used to take that plastic jet out and clean it and put it back together. They couldn't get it out, so they had to go to town, get a new foot valve, a casting, about this. I could show it to you. Maybe I will. A casting, and put everything together, a new screen on there, and put the pipe back down in the well, put the cap on, rehook the L at the top, where it comes into the house, hooked it up, no better. I'll continue with another video.